the city of Tshwane, South Africa, it's set to become the epicenter of Africa's vibrant music industry. It's happening from the 30th of October to the 1st of November. And this comes as it is set to host the Music in Africa Conference for collaborations, exchange and showcases. That's ACCES. ACCES is more than just a conference. It's a movement. We're designed to connect professionals, to facilitate international market access, as well as generate export opportunities and just address the gaps, the systemic challenges affecting industry stakeholders, where this event now has become a landmark gathering for the African music industry at large. And so perhaps to tell us a little bit more, we are joined virtually by Conference Director Eddie Hatitye. Eddie, on that note, good morning. Thanks for your time.
Good morning, and good morning to the listeners.
Eddie, I mean, the top themes coming through here, especially for this edition. Talk to us about what that focus is, how it continues to shape this ever-evolving musical landscape to ensure that there's equity, accessibility, and equality and access at large.
Yes, and I think you've said it all there. The music industry is a business, and it's unfortunately a business that's occupied by a lot of informant participants. So, the informal, so a lot of the guys who are working, creating the music and, pushing the boundaries, a lot of them, unfortunately, are informal and they're not so supported. So we need a lot of structures that connect and provide opportunities for these guys to, have access to markets, have access to finances, and access to the right information. So about 10 years ago, we developed this music market called ACCES, which is really one of the biggest gatherings for music professionals from all over the globe. They come to a different African city every year, and this year they're in Tshwane, as you said, and we're looking forward to an amazing event that not only connects people, but identifies the opportunities and the challenges that we need to address.
So, Eddie, let's get into some of the key aspects of it for this year. The key speakers, the performers on the lineup as well, even just facilitating that whole process to access the international market, right? Especially because our work is so well received. We complete that story of the world's picture, but how we are supported on the business front is another story altogether.
True, and that's why we look at essentially the whole music industry value chain, from the guys who are creating, the guys who are distributing, publishing, promoting, and the guys who are financing this industry, educational institutions, record labels, etc. We bring these people together. And what we really want to do, especially for the locals, is to create an opportunity for them to connect and exploit the opportunities that come from this, of course, important platform.
And I mean, the offering is that Africa is the heart and soul of, as a continent, but also in terms of the offering as well. Protecting, the local flavor, it becomes very important, right? The benchmark also has to be Afrocentric as opposed to it, reaching milestones in relation to what the West wants. And so that comes with agency and affirming that, right? Making sure that that's protected as well. Can you speak to how intentional that also becomes at this point, especially in this world of AI? Where replication comes IP as well?
No, absolutely important for us to remember that just like any industry, there are those drivers for success. And in the music industry, one of them is intellectual property. It needs to be protected. It needs to be registered properly. And there are a lot of processes that unfortunately are not so clear to a lot of us who operate in this industry. So what we're really trying to do above everything is to make sure that each rights holder, in other words, each person that composes music and is involved in that value chain understands how they can protect and make money from their music. And so at ACCES, what we actually have real quick is we have a 2-day conference where you're going to have a lot of discussions, presentations, and people sharing important information around this industry. And then we're going to have a 2-day festival featuring artists from across the continent playing in the heart of Tshwane, and amazing performers and amazing opportunities to connect, to meet the people that make things move in this industry. So I'm inviting anyone who is involved in the music industry to this event, because really it is like we say it is the golf course of the music industry. That's where the business is done. That's where you meet the right people.
Well, let's see how we can also track that growth, right? Because that's important. So if we look at some of the other initiatives, previous editions as well, talk to us about how we can measure that impact to date.
Well, I mean, ACCES has been to about 7 cities since we started it. This includes Dakar, Nairobi, Dar es Salaam, Kigali, and for the first time in City of Tshwane. When you look at impact in this industry, it's something that we have to look at the value of just this event from a cultural tourism, right? Just the kind of revenue that we bring in. We're having about 1,200 delegates from 45 countries. We're going to book out hotels in the city of Tshwane. There's going to be so much traction and so much movement. We have to look at the kind of deals that are made from this kind of event. We have businesses coming all the way from Argentina, delegations from the US. What all those guys are looking for are business opportunities. So we're looking at the kind of value that comes from that, and we estimate about $25 million in 3 days.
Sure. Thank you for speaking to that entire value chain. It really is going to be a much needed boost for the economy at large, just beyond the cultural exchange as well. So I know you said that there's the festival and there's also the workshops edition. So in terms of how it operates, the times it starts, tracking the progress of the program, what attendees can really expect, how does each session play out?
Well, it's a typical event where you've got inspirational speakers. We've got Grammy award-winning people, guys who have, created amazing works that have proven to be, successful strategies and plans for this industry. Those guys are essentially going to be teaching us from how do we distribute music in 2025? How do we deal with AI? How do we regulate AI? How do the young people pitch their music to record label owners and that kind of things? And this year, for the first time, we've got the highest number of, let's say, senior music industry executives. We're looking at, like, even our industry leaders from the creative side, Focalistic, Zex Bantwini, Murder, Taxin, and a lot of people that hold this important information, and they've proven time and again that they know how this industry works. And what we want to do is to pair them up with a lot of guys coming from across the world and essentially deliver a program that makes sense, especially to the local professionals.
And I can see that an array of genres is also going to be reflected there. Some jazz artists as well. As you mentioned, Murder, you mentioned Zex Bantwini, Zoe Mudiga there. So, and also perhaps also the up-and-coming artists that take on the baton and keep that industry going. Thank you, Eddie, for your time at this hour. Wishing you all the success with this endeavor for the Tshwane leg. Eddie Hatitye chatting to us about ACCES 2025. All the action you can expect as we continue to empower the music industry here in South Africa and the continent at large.